No, I cannot believe that, but I don't know the information. I just came out of the car, so I don't have any facts. But I'm definitely surprised with that. Especially with all what I've done for him in the past.
Well, Perez just cannot catch a break when it comes to Red Bull and his commitment to the team. After everything that he's done for the team in 2021 and 2022, now he's rumoured to leave the team in the middle of the 2023 season if he doesn't obey the rules that are being set by Verstappen. There can only be one line in Red Bull, and we think that the answer to this question has been answered in 2021. Even though Perez is the ideal wingman and teammate for Verstappen, the Mexican seat at Red Bull is likely to be eliminated from the team following the latest turn of events. Perez has been signed by the Austrian team for 2021, and it goes without saying that we've been heartened by the way he was treated at Racing Point in 2020. His contract was terminated 1 year earlier than it was supposed to, just for the team to bring Sebastian Vettel in to take his place. Obviously, Lawrence Stroll is not firing his son to bring a 4-time world champion to the team. Perez didn't even have a team at the last race in Qatar in 2020, one that he was able to win after being last at a certain point of the race. So we have to give Red Bull credit for saving the Mexican's career. Obviously, they could have invested in Albon and in a young driver, something they've always done ever since the team was founded, but they've opted out for a less traditional way for them, which is to bring a veteran to the team. And boy, did it work wonders for them. Perez was crucial to Verstappen's 2021 championship, with strong defensive drives in Turkey and Abu Dhabi, as well as an incredible ability to persevere tyres and save Verstappen's track position on almost every track that the F1 Caravan visited last year. And 2022 hasn't been anything different either, with Perez having a legitimate shot to win second place in the Drivers' Championship after battling Leclerc in the last race. However, if you look at the results only, you'll see a close fight. But if you haven't seen the season races, then you can't note how regressing Perez's form has been. Obviously, he's emerged as a championship candidate after the first couple of races, with the difference between him and Verstappen being just 15 points after Monaco. This was the race that Perez reportedly crashed deliberately just to save track position ahead of his teammate in the race, one that he was prioritised with a tyre strategy and one that he won, gaining the second win in his career. Verstappen was enraged after this race, and when Perez announced that the championship fight was on, we saw a significant drop in his pace. Not only was he much slower than Verstappen, with him and the Dutchman having the biggest difference compared to teammates in qualifying, but he was also slower than Ferrari and Mercedes as well. Not that Verstappen needed that much help compared to 2021, given the fact that he was absolutely dominant, but one couldn't help but wonder what went wrong with Perez. What happened, and Perez has fallen behind. True, he won 2 races in the season, which after Verstappen and Leclerc is the most in 2022 season, but his pace is truly concerning. Now that Red Bull will face a sporting penalty in 2023, meaning that they'll have 15% less wind tunnel time in CFD, his seat in Red Bull is everything but a guaranteed one. And this is just the least of the worries regarding Perez gaining more pace and keeping his seat at the same time. Surprisingly, if Perez wants to keep his seat at Red Bull, he must outperform everyone else but not his teammate Verstappen. Despite the fact that tensions between him and Verstappen have risen significantly, with Verstappen's mother commenting on Perez's personal life and cheating allegations, Red Bull has sided with their champion and made a move that has further weakened his chances of remaining with Red Bull in the future. Now, before we move on, we wanted to tell you about the amazing deal the official F1 store is doing right now. Holiday season is here and they're doing daily discounts on all orders, so check out the first link down in the description to get yourself this juicy discount. Now, after Abu Dhabi, Red Bull signed Daniel Ricciardo as their third driver, which, although perceived as a naive move and one that has been done for the sake of the good old days, is far from the situation. Verstappen has allegedly asked for Perez to be replaced with someone else, and we know how close Ricciardo and Verstappen are, even though the Dutchman was the main reason why Ricciardo lost his racing seat at Red Bull in 2018. Now that Perez could be kicked off the team if he doesn't follow the rules, it's clear that there aren't many seats available for him, except for the back market teams. But is this going to really happen, or are we hallucinating? Experts believe that Perez's time at Red Bull has come to an end, and we can expect an announcement from the team that Ricciardo will compete alongside Verstappen beginning in 2023. Damon Hill, the 1996 world champion, spoke about this matter first, adding that Verstappen has already asked for another teammate after what happened in Brazil and Abu Dhabi. Although the second event wasn't that eventful, with Perez thinking that Verstappen slowed him down after he exited the pit stop, Brazil has really stirred up the situation between these two drivers. It could be quite an interesting one if you think about the problems they have apparently had between Max and Sergio. Let's say the toys go out of the pram and there is some sort of fallout there. Daniel Ricciardo could be in prime position. It's his home and he does owe a lot to Red Bull, so he'll be very keen to be back in that fold. What is it about the prodigal son who returns? He could be in a good position coming back, and having learned a lot in other places, it can be that you can improve having been somewhere else and then returning to the place you started. And it's quite interesting when you think about it, how Verstappen justifies not slowing down Leclerc just so Perez can pass him. It seems like the Dutchman forgot what happened last year and how Perez sacrificed 2 laps of racing just to slow down Hamilton and risk even crashing and getting out of the race. Verstappen's response was quite cynical, meaning that he deliberately didn't help his teammate because he thought it wasn't fair. That's quite a tricky call to make. You also don't want to end up, of course you can possibly block, but I mean, is that fair racing? I think it's not the nicest way going out of the season like that. It looked like Checo was catching him enough to try and actually get a move, but then he lost quite a bit of time with that bit of a fuss between Pierre and Alex. He lost quite a bit of time with that because I was watching that on the screens. Now, although the media sided with Perez and they've taken shots at Verstappen for not being respectful, there are some people who believe that Verstappen was right in his actions after Brazil. What's even worse for Perez is the fact that the team thinks the 2-time world champion is in the wrong. Even though they don't mean it, they would be forced to think that way given the fact that Verstappen is the one who brings the wins to the team and not Perez. As a result, the last thing Red Bull wants to do is irritate Verstappen, because that will result in some interesting things happening to the other driver, in this case Perez. According to David Coulthard, he believes that Verstappen wasn't the one to be blamed for Perez being treated the way he is, and if the Mexican wants better results, that he should race more and speak less. Obviously, Perez's pace has dropped a lot, and it's evident that he doesn't have the ability to adapt as fast as Verstappen to any given situation or any given car. But that doesn't mean he deserves to be treated that way. Still, the Scot took it too far by adding that Perez should leave if he doesn't like it at Red Bull, as they were the team that salvaged his career. When talking about this matter, Coulthard said, "It was an open conversation and there's nothing to be interpreted. The team made a request and the driver denied it. The answer was there before, and someone has knocking again to try to get a different answer. Being consistent in your behaviour patterns is a quality. Inconsistency is what you need to watch out for, because you don't know what you're dealing with." Checo was out of Formula 1 with no one knocking on his door. Red Bull gave him the opportunity to come back, and a car that's nailed on to win races. He's had a fair crack of the whip to try and beat Max, and he's constantly not delivered on the same level. He has occasionally done so, and I admire the victories he's had. So, what do you think about Perez and his continuous talks with Red Bull? Do you think that we're going to see him being replaced by Ricciardo mid-2023? Let us know in the comments below.